I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today.
This week, we're bringing you a Whiskey Rock Lounge rewind episode of Women Who Rock.
Is that for Horse? The ponytail for Horse?
It could be. Could be. I just wasn't in the mood to do anything, so I just threw it up. So, let's get her in here, shall we?
Yes. Looking forward to it.
All the way. I wonder if people are sick of this yet. Get her all connected with the audio.
Get in here.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Get him in there, girl.
Oh my God. Does my face look red?
I've walked
12 miles today.
I know, you said this woman went on a 12-mile hill walk today.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at you.
Awesome.
You look fabulous, darling.
Hello. Well, it's lovely. We've not done this for years.
I had not seen you for years, but you look amazing, and I watch everything you're doing all the time. You've had a big year.
It's been an incredible year, and in spite of COVID and lockdown, it's just been. I've been quite productive, not musically, but just kind of making plans ahead. And my tour, it's moved again to April 2022. But what's happened in the meantime is I got a little bit of funding. So on Sunday, I'm going up north to start recording.
Oh, nice.
Well done.
That's the first time I've recorded. I'm heading towards my next album, which I think is my 10th. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm frantically writing away here. But the whole point is me to experiment.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's all about, because the last album, Home, was a bit like a bookend with the first album, Same Sky, which the anniversary is about. So I feel free now to go off and explore and try things. Try things out. As I said, it's from Creative Scotland, which I'm eternally grateful for. It's just a small amount to get me going, but it's a chance for me to try things out because, like most musicians, without a major label, it's hand to mouth all the time financially, and you don't have the luxury of sitting in a studio trying things out. So. And I know that we've got like technology and you can sit at home and record, but it's not the same as being in a studio and having that environment. And this studio is an old church. It's called St. Mary's Space.
Oh,
it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Oh, that's going to be.
That's nice acoustics in there.
It's incredible, absolutely incredible. So, and the engineer Jamie is a bit of an expert on acoustics. And he's actually an expert. I don't know what the phrase is, but he records and teaches people how to record ambient sounds, etc., which I do on my iPhone. I record, like for the last album, I recorded various things like the tide when I was a child, where I was growing when I grew up, the place that we went to when we were children, and I recorded a high tide, a low tide. I recorded where my mum and dad's ashes are. Now, you don't physically hear those things, but they're actually in the track.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
But you know how do you know how I discovered this feeling thing? Years ago, during the Same Sky, there's a track called Speed of the Beat, which is one of the singles. And when you isolate, so when I say isolate, for those that don't know, when you sort of choose a particular track, an element, and you solo it, one of the things is we had Tony, we said, let's do a little shaker. And the best shaker we found was homeopathic teething granules, who's a tiny wee thing like this. So there's this big mic and him kind of going, shaking this shaker. So, but what you hear is him breathing. and there's no
Oh,
shaker going. But also the window, the big studio window door was open, and you can hear birds. Now the thing
wow.
is, you listen to the whole track, you don't hear any of that, but it's in there. It's got a lovely feel to it. So yeah,
Wow.
I've been interested in that ever since, and I like to sort of put wee snippets in, little elements that people won't hear audibly, but it's in the track. So
It's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Do you worry about when you're doing a live show trying to, trying to harness that, or no, you just,
no, I think that kind of thing doesn't. I think when you actually perform live, your actual you're breathing out from yourself, and people are breathing in what you're breathing out, and I think that's just as effective. There's little elements that are key sounds as opposed to those atmosphere things. Now, I don't think I've ever put, because we occasionally use like a track, so that it sounds like the original, but yeah, I wouldn't put those things in. I think just performing live, like we all agree, performing live is the magic.
exactly, you feed it. Jay,
I
you know that. You
I
feed off the
agree.
energy. Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, it's very nice to meet you. Denise told me a lot about you, and I looked you up online, and I was so impressed with your work and your
Thank
career.
you.
And I understand what you're saying about those outside elements when you're recording. My last CD I made, we wanted a front porch feel to the song, like
Mm.
just like a laid back, swampy kind of front porch feel. And instead of using any kind of a percussion instrument, one of the musicians played a cardboard box that just
Right.
happened to arrive with a new piece of equipment for the studio, and it was just sitting there, and like no one would ever know that's a box, but it sounded like you're sitting on your front porch and you might be hitting like the side of a chair or something, so I totally get that, doing that in recording, but you can't really emulate that on the stage when you play
No.
that live.
What's really interesting is that I mean, my favourite producers are producers that use like analog sounds, real sounds. So that kind of thing of finding something which is not digital, it's analog. I mean, a lot of kids growing up today don't appreciate that. I think quite the same, or being in a studio, or what you can achieve physically, and in the ether, properly in the ether. I'm trying to remember. There's a producer I really like called Pierre Marchand. Do you know Pierre Marchand? I think he's Canadian, French
I
Canadian.
don't.
He's produced the McGarrigle sisters. He's produced Rufus Wainwright. So there's obviously
Oh,
that connection, and his production, Sarah McLachlan as well. His production tends to be quite natural, but at the same time, what he does is so he uses natural instruments, and but he uses them in such a way as makes a loop with them.
oh
So you've
yeah.
still got
Oh,
analog instruments, and so if you listen in the background, it's incredible. Especially Sarah McLachlan's stuff in particular. It's just a real natural producer. Really, really great stuff. So I'd love to find somebody that was of that kind of element. I mean, I'm doing all this myself at the moment, but what I want to do is record the album proper at the end of the year,
That's
um,
fantastic.
and we'll probably be looking for a producer. So I've never had that luxury before. So I'm like, oh, who could we ask? But these things are on a budget, as JD would recognise.
Yeah.
It's I
mhm.
don't know. It might be okay without getting some producer in, but for me, it'd be fun to have a bit of the responsibility taken away a little bit. Um,
Yes,
It'll free,
definitely.
yeah, it frees
I
you
feel
up.
that. Feel
Yeah,
that.
of
Yeah.
course. You you mentioned Same Sky. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, but 30 years, right?
well, it was 30 years last year,
Okay.
so
31
when
years.
we did one show which I filmed and recorded, fortunately,
Yeah.
at the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh, and it turned out very, very well. It's what people are going to get in 2022, which will be the 32nd anniversary, but we're still calling it the 30th anniversary.
But that's
Will be the
huge.
same sky
Huge.
show. So
Yeah.
it's I don't know. The only way I can describe what's happening at the moment, I don't know. It's like I'm a real firm believer in fate, and I think that 30 years ago, when everything was going huge and bang, and we signed our deal, we released singles, then the album came out in '90. We toured with Tina Turner across Europe, um, and then the Gulf War happened, and there was all these things went wrong, began to go wrong, And it's like the only way I can liken it is it's like there was this big wave coming towards us, and we missed it.
Ah,
I feel this
Yeah.
wave now. This wave is coming now, and I can feel it, and I'm ready this time. I don't think I was ready then, and
It could
it's
be.
just so exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you're a cover girl. You were on the cover of Diva, and then
I saw
it's
that.
amazing. And then behind you, I mean, that picture, the National Portrait Gallery. That's
It's
Wow.
well, do you know there are so many honors attached to that moment in time, and I think yeah, I'll try and pick it apart a tiny bit. So having done what I've done for many years, having been out and with a major record deal and no one really getting it, and then Katie Lang happens, and she gets all the shit, frankly, which maybe just saved me a little bit. But you know, things. It wasn't the time at that point. So I've been through an enormous amount. A lot of things happened in my life growing up, and the struggle to be an out lesbian woman in the music industry. Lots of stuff. Equal marriage happens eventually in Scotland. You know, things, the tides, it's all changing. So that's all happening as an undercurrent. I did a show with David McCalmont. You might not know him, but it was the Dusty and Shirley show. So David and I sang Dusty and, you know, as in Shirley Bassey and Dusty Springfield songs at a wonderful club in London called the Hideaway, which is like one of those old-fashioned, a very American model where you have dinner and you watch a show.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and so in London and Streatham, it's an incredible. It's just moving actually recently, but anyway, we're doing that. And afterwards, this woman came up to me. So I often meet people after shows, and it was funny. She knows about this, so she would laugh. But when she came up to me, I'm sure JD's the same. You get people coming up to you, and you just kind of got to take a wee. Is this somebody that's just what's behind this? And she said, "Would you like to come up and see my paintings?" It was a bit like, "Do you want to come up and see my etchings?" But I was like, okay. She said she was an artist, and I was like, okay. So the next time I was in London, I went to her studio, which was in Streatham. It's in an old, beautiful, ancient old theatre in Streatham. And she has the top floor, and she's got a studio up there, and it's quite literally called the Bavarian Buffet. and it's got like flock wallpaper, ornate, you know, lighting and stuff. And it literally was called the Bavarian Buffet. So people would go to a show, they would go to the Bavarian Buffet and get a drink before they went to the show. Anyway, that's where she is. She's got this incredible collection of mannequins as well, beautiful. I don't know if you know as well, because mannequins, they're modelled on actual models, and some of them are incredibly collectible. And she has some incredible models. She calls them her girls. Anyhow, so I had a lovely, lovely time. And she said, "Then can I do your portrait?" And I was like, "Well, gosh, well, the honour's mine, really." So again, I went back down again, and instead of sitting for her, I sang.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I sang Careful. You perhaps know Careful, and I just I couldn't sort of explain to her what I did, and I thought standing still and going like this wasn't the same, so I sang, and she took some photographs of me, and I never saw anything for a long, long time. She said, "The portrait's finished. I hope you like it," but then lockdown happened. So,
Oh.
and I was like, "Oh," she didn't want to just show me a photograph, and but right. So hold that thought. She's done the portrait, but parallel to me seeing her saying do the portrait, the Imogen Gibbon, who's one of the curators, directors of the galleries in Scotland, liked Roxana Hall's work, so she went and saw an exhibition in Manchester. And then she said, "I'd like to come and see your studio and come in and see your stuff." So she was about to start my painting, and Imogen came in and was looking around, going, "Oh my God, I'd love to have some of your work in our galleries, one of our galleries." And it's just that you would need a Scottish subject. And she went, "Well, I'm just about to start painting Horse McDonald." And Imogen was like, "Wow, she's just the kind of person we want in our gallery."
Oh, wow.
To change what kind of content they have in galleries, because
Right.
I represent so many different things. I'm an
Oh,
older woman, I'm a lesbian, I'm Scottish, so I'm a singer. I'm just, there's not anyone like me in that gallery at all or anywhere. Um, and so she said to her about that. She then went and saw it. I didn't know this. And she said, I want to acquire it for the nation, but it has to go through a real vetting process between all the directors of all the galleries, so that it's rightly kind of looked at and considered, and is it the right thing for us to acquire for the nation? So it's a government funded thing. So I didn't know. And then she said, I've got something to tell you. You're sitting down. I was like, yeah. She said, well, we're at the last stage of the selection. And I was like, oh, really? And when she said, I was like, oh, but I don't know about you, but if something's happening at a distance, it's not tangible.
right. Yeah.
So,
Right.
so I thought, I need to rush down there and see this portrait before it gets taken back up to Scotland. And so I went down in the train during lockdown with a mask on, sat 5 hours in the train, saw the thing. The thing. I didn't. I was so nervous because I thought, I really want to like this. I hope I don't dislike it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I looked at it and I didn't recognize myself. I just didn't, because I'm seeing myself from inside out.
Right.
I'm looking at
Right.
myself from the
Right.
inside, and I'm like, oh, and this character is so bright and vivid, and I'm like, oh, I'm a boring old fart, and I'm dark, and I'm not very interesting. But this is what I was thinking, and what she said to me was that when she paints, she tries to capture the essence of someone.
I
And
feel
what
like she
she's
did.
captured,
Yeah.
well, what she's captured is me singing.
Yes.
And when I sing with my heart and my soul, and that's what she's captured. So I'm
Exactly.
getting kind of used to it now. But anyway, we weren't allowed to, when the portrait was hung in the gallery, we weren't allowed to look at it. Now, to show how big an honour this is. So this is the National Portrait Gallery of Scotland
Right.
in Edinburgh. A massive,
Wow.
beautiful old building. You walk in through these hallowed doors, and there is my portrait on the right. It's huge. It's 3 or 4 times life size. It's the only portrait in the Great Gallery. It's called the Great Hall, and
Wow.
and that's all. That's the only portrait that's in there. And what's on it? And it just like there's a frieze goes all the way around, and it's all the great and good of Scotland.
Oh
And
my
I'd say
God.
Right.
99% of the people on there are men, and some of the women are actually just like I'm clutching at straws. Fate, Florence Nightingale. There's hardly, it's kind of symbolic images of women as well. So you're like, I'm in this gallery. So also, being gay as well, it's like, that's a big thing. And so to be in this gallery
Amazing.
feels like, if I was a child growing up and I went into that gallery and I saw someone like me, I'd go, wow, I'd like to be like that. Who is this
Yeah.
person?
Yes.
And when I'm dead,
Exactly.
when I'm dead and gone, it's like that portrait's still going to exist. And
Yeah.
it's going to
Right.
represent, it's going to show people that no matter what your struggles, you can still thrive,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and share a bit of yourself.
It's So our guests are in the green room, and
Okay.
we should note that this time around, like we had the girls from EEK, we had just Lucy last time, but now we've got
Right.
Lucy
Right.
and her wife Mandy, so we're gonna let them in. I'm excited.
I am so excited. Hi.
There you are.
Hey,
There you are.
Hi.
hello.
Oh, there's your other half.
I'm just trying to get the laptop sitting
You
properly.
have green lights going there.
We've got a galaxy going on, look.
Oh
Yeah.
come on. You guys are the best.
Yeah, man.
I like that.
Perfect for St.
If
Patrick's
you can't
Day.
be in the galaxy on a Wednesday, when the hell can you be in the galaxy?
Denise, what's up,
Turn up the Birmingham accent. I love it.
Just
They
for
beat the
you.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too. It's nice to see you in, well, even though it's a computer flesh, it's still the flesh.
I feel like I know you from Facebook. So and from Denise telling me so much about you, and I watch your videos. Love your music.
Thank
Love
you so
your
much.
harmonies and everything about what you do.
Oh,
Stuff. It's good stuff. What are you guys drinking?
It's good
Hey,
stuff.
Say,
I'm not drinking this
you're not-
evening.
You're on,
Shame on
you're on
me.
meds and you've
I'm
got
on meds.
work. You've got work tomorrow. Mandy?
Uh,
Mandy? No?
Over this whole lockdown, I've had 3 beers and I don't drink, so that's quite a
She's
big.
not the drinking type.
I was concerned at one point. She was like, let's go and get some beer. And I'm like, oh my God, let's just capitalize on this immediately. And she came out the shop with a box of 10 beers. I was like, whoa.
Corona as well.
Corona.
We're drinking. She's got the Knob Creek maple whiskey.
Oh, see, I want to be drinking.
Yes.
So I had this Jameson cold brew and I looked up how to make an Irish iced coffee.
Nice.
Ta-da!
Nice.
I know. Sorry, I have to do this.
I've had a nice coffee today, but not the Irish kind. Happy St. Patrick's
Mm.
Day. Hooray.
I'll be honest with you. I tested it out all morning. wanted to get it right.
Nice
You
to
gotta
meet
get it
you.
right.
Jesus Christ! I got to take a drunken shower. So yes, we have the lovely ladies from EEK, and I know JD is so excited. I'm just gonna let her hit you with a barrage of questions because I know everything about you guys.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, on the way home tonight, Denise was telling me, she to go, what about questions? And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to ask them this. I can't wait to ask them that. So I wanted to ask Lucy the last time she was on the show, but I didn't get a chance to, how it is for you girls being in a relationship and in a band together. Like, how does that work? Because it could be really awesome, and sometimes it could be,
She's talking from experience.
The thing is, so from our perspective, Mand and I write all the songs as well. So 5-piece band, but Mand and I are the songwriters. So we'll occasionally, and in a songwriting scenario, we'll never come to blows, but we'll have disagreements on because our styles are quite different. In sort of writing, Mandy's you've got a back catalogue of hundreds of songs, haven't you? So Mand was in an indie band in the 90s, low slung guitar, leather trousers and a bra.
No shoes.
Yeah. But yeah, so her style and my style complement each other very much, but the writing side of things, I think, can sometimes, be a bit of a challenge for us, can't it?
Sometimes like you don't because you don't play an instrument. She's like, well, make it a bit more like this.
Yeah,
I don't know. So sometimes it's a bit like that. But
absolutely, I find it quite frustrating because I play bass. Used to play double bass when I was younger, but I've never actually played an instrument as an adult. To kind of help me songwrite. So it's quite a frustration for me. So we've never fallen out. We've always found a happy place, and songs have kind of evolved.
Sometimes we have a bit of a
rehearsals can be a bit but that's just 5 women in a room together.
We just end up drinking tea and eating cake.
Yeah.
So.
But I think 5 women in a room together there'll always be moments. And Mand, you'll sometimes get a bit lost in your playing, won't you? And then you and Karen, particularly on drums. Karen's got man for the signals to change and stuff, and Man's just like, oh, sorry, I was just playing. Little daydreamer in the corner.
So here's what I found.
I thought that would be Ruth, by the way. I thought
yeah, no, that is Ruth. Yeah, generally as well.
Well, it's great that that you're all women and you get along, because sometimes it's a little difficult. I found you have to pick the right women to work with. Otherwise, people are fighting for the spotlight, or it becomes a little competitive. But I had the relationship situation, band situation as well, and I found that it could be amazing to be on stage with the person that you're with and share that experience together of being on stage and everything that comes with,
Yeah.
and share that with your person, you know. But it's also hard because when you're at rehearsal, like you just mentioned rehearsal, if the criticism comes from your partner, it stings a little more or something. I don't know. It's a little more like, I found that I was a little more sensitive to that. And so anyway, it could, you know, it could be great. Like I said, it could be great, and it could be sometimes detrimental to one of the two things, either the music or the relationship.
On that, I think I'm probably the one that's most sensitive out of the two of us. So, you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit more about it. So a man might say, oh, you know, maybe change that word, or, you know, you're not singing that quite right. Let's just go through it again. And I'm the one that might be a bit like, what? I was singing completely fine. You don't know what you're doing. Play guitar and shut up.
Or if we've had an argument before rehearsal,
You can
go
tell.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like, let's just rehearse and get home and everything's fine. And then the other girls are kind of like, everything all right? We're like, yeah, it's fine, thank you.
Though, isn't it?
Always. And I think the great thing is, and you just said that, JD, is we are so lucky, and we count our lucky stars that the three girls we're in a band
We were
with
all friends first.
are just the best women. And we've all got such a great friendship. And there's never anything that, you know, we've been through deaths, we've been through loss, we've been through love, we've been through laughs, cakes. You know, we've been through some awful gigs, we've been through some, you know, all these experiences. We've had babies together, you know, we had children at the same time. And so we've had all these experiences.
They'd be the ones you'd pull up onto the raft, not the ones you'd push away and let them down.
I can't hold on, Rose. No, bye.
Trying to push them up.
Nothing like a good Titanic reference, you know?
You definitely share the door with them, 100%.
Yes, there was room on that door for him. Why didn't you?
Oh, there was.
I will go to the grave wondering that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh. Tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen. Pour myself a cup of ambition. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. And out on the street, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me. On a job from 9 to 5. Tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen. Pour myself a cup of ambition. Yawn and stretch, trying to come to life. Jumping in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the street, the traffic starts jumping. Folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taken and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. They let you dream just to watch them shatter, just to step on the boss man's ladder. But you got dreams he'll never take away. You're in the same boat as a lot of your friends, waiting for the day ship will come in. Tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way. Working 9 to 5 for service and devotion. You would think that I would deserve a fair promotion. It's a rich man's game, no matter what they call it. You spend your life putting money in his pocket. 9 to 5, well, they've got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you dream about it, don't you? Wanna move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me. 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taking and no forgiving, they just use your mind. They never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it.
So I'm gonna let Miri in because I think she's got she's got a couple of cool little bottles of Martell lined up. So
Nice.
she knows. You gotta have a drink.
She's up, she's on it. She's all over it.
She's on it, man. So I want to formally introduce you, Miri, to JD Danner, my co-host, musician.
Hi.
Good to meet you.
I've been listening to your music and it's amazing. I love your originality.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
creative.
Yeah.
Honestly. I know. I listened to Just Breathe a couple of times today, just like walking around the house, like I got rhythm or something.
Even what you do with the covers is so different and it's very fresh. It's what you hear. I was telling Denise, it's what you hear today in commercials and movies and television shows. It's just it's just a really cool take on some of the iconic hits that I've been listening to that you've covered, plus your original music. So yay, I've been listening. I'm turned on to new music.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you very much.
You know, I was so excited that we had you on the show tonight that I text Katie right away. Katie Hall. And I was like, I've got your friend. She was all jealous. She was like, she is my friend. And I gotta let people know, first of all, not only are you a musician, we worked together at Elfest. That was how I met you. But you're so creative. You're like an artist. You've got the find your voice thing going on. You starred in her web series, so you did some phenomenal acting there, which by the way, I was in too, in voice only, but you know. But yeah, I'm always amazed at the things that you get up to.
Oh, that could be taken the wrong way, but no.
Well, you know,
Okay.
the things
No,
that we
thank
know
you.
about, the things that we know
Yeah,
about.
no, 100%. No, thank you. Yeah, creativity is just so important, isn't it? And although I've spent so many years and continue to like hone my craft as a songwriter, as a vocalist, there's just so many ways to, I just find if something, ignites that spark, then I'm there for it or here for it. So
yeah, all over it, man. It's fantastic.
all over it, yeah. Here, there.
Tell me a little bit about how you got into like being on the web series. Was that completely like out of your realm? Was it new to be in front of the camera like that, acting and not singing?
Yeah, I mean, originally Katie had reached out to me to be involved as a music supervisor for the show.
Yeah.
And then it was a case where they wanted to use some of my songs. And I actually, before I started taking music seriously as a career, acting was what I wanted to do. So when I was younger, I studied acting and I wanted to direct and had all these sorts of dreams. And then, yeah, like I ended up following a path in music. And just before that web series, I'd really been sort of feeling how I wanted to explore acting again. And I didn't quite know how, but I thought, okay, you know you want to, so just put it out there and let's see what happens. And then this opportunity came up, which was amazing. And Katie, I remember them messaging me and saying, please do consider it. Like they didn't want to put pressure on me. And I wasn't expecting to get one of the lead parts. I was just sort of doing this just to kind of, I think, just explore and just, yeah, I was kind of just I'd had a really tough, gone through one of those chapters in life that was really tough previously. And then I read Patti Smith's book, Just Kids. And I just felt it just kind of got me out of this rut. And I decided for the next year, like, live like Patti. So I kind of just started, I mean, it led me to like doing a gig in Berlin and just traveling and just doing some really cool things. And so the acting came up, and yeah, that's how it all came about, basically.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's one of those things where you put something out there and it comes to you, and it's not that you have to say yes, but in your mind, it's kind of like, I'm open to it. Tell me a little bit about your t-shirt campaign.
Right. So
You got
when
one on. Give me one of these.
yeah.
There you go. Schitt's Creek. There it is.
Yeah, like when obviously the pandemic first hit, gigging was just well, yeah, that was not happening at all. And it was a big, part of my income that was just sort of slashed. And I spoke to this woman called Sally, who works with a lot of women in music, offering them guidance. And she was like, look, I'm happy to just give you a one-to-one. Like, she didn't charge me or anything. And she really loved, like, I didn't create the tagline "Find Your Voice." It's been used. But I was kind of running, I run sort of vocal and songwriting workshops and one-to-one lessons as well, called Find Your Voice. And she was like, I really love that tagline. Have you ever thought about putting that on a t-shirt? And I was like, oh, no, I haven't. And she was like, this is something that, you could do. And it's just a way to make a bit of extra money. So that's what the kind of, that's why I did it originally. And then it just kind of had a life of its own and just became really special to me. And like, even when I wear one of my t-shirts, I wear it when I feel, I mean, obviously, promotion, but also just when I sort of feel I need a bit of strength today. And that's, I find clothing really special in that way. So it's been really beautiful just to see other people finding that comfort in the brand as well. And yeah, so I've sort of launched them in a sense where I don't have to buy, merch up front. And like many artists, you just have all this merch in your house. So it's on a site, and all the prints and everything are uploaded, and then people can just buy from there. But I did recently as well, I did buy up front some t-shirts for Pride. So it's the same logo, but it's just got all the like the progressive flag colors. And so I've kind of released them on Bandcamp, and I've got a few gigs coming up which I'm going to sell them at as well.
That's fantastic. We had a couple on last week, and they have launched a swimwear company for kind of geared at our LGBT community, because you find it hardest to have any confidence or self-esteem in a bathing suit, and that's pretty much because in a department store they're geared towards a certain body style that we don't all have. So they created this line, and then we did like a bit of a deep dive into body positivity and comfortability and confidence. But it's like you're saying, like, you pick up your clothes with that in mind, kind of, like your look, your style, what you feel comfortable in, what's projecting what you want to project. So I get it. Yeah,
and I think sometimes fashion and clothing can be seen in a really fickle way. But speaking as a queer woman, and for so many years feeling I had to dress in a certain way that I didn't feel comfortable. It's not to say, if I want to wear heels and go out, then I'll do that. But it was kind of like, when I was growing up, that's what made you a woman. And I remember it wasn't until I first went on the gay scene in London at a place called Candy Bar, and I just saw all these other young women at the time, and was like, oh my gosh, they dress like me, you know, like I don't have to, you know, it's nice to know you have a choice, and it's nice to be able to embrace different clothing styles, but it's kind of, there's such, it's just so generic to be like, well, this is your gender,
Yeah.
and this is how you must dress when you go out, and this is how you must dress day to day. And if you don't, if that doesn't, you know, fit right for you, then it's kind of almost like, I don't know, I continue to now just find myself and what feels comfortable instead of what society expects from me. And I do feel like with clothing, I mean, it's taken me years to get to a point where I'm like, yeah, this is me. I feel comfortable. This is who I am and how I choose to express myself. And knowing that one day I can go out and wear heels, and another day I can go out and wear baggy jeans and trainers. It doesn't, I am who I am, and it doesn't take away, you know, anything like my womanhood, if you like. It's
right. Yeah. It's you
Right.
expressing your individuality. Like Jay, the clothing line you're wearing right now, you stumbled on that, and that's it. It goes perfectly with your look, and yet it's doing good for veterans and you know.
Oh, yeah, that 9 line. Yeah.
Is that what you're wearing right now today?
No, actually,
Oh.
I'm wearing Palette King today. This is my other gig. I'm a musician, and I have a day gig too, which is a business, but that's hard to balance, you know, like you were saying, you know, when most of your income comes from music, it's tough with what was happening with the pandemic. So this is my day gig, but 9 Line is a clothing line supporting first responders and our troops and veterans. You know, I found that sometimes when you dress the way you like to dress, it might not be the way everyone expects you to dress. Like, I found this jacket in New Orleans. I went to New Orleans 2 years ago for a music conference, and I get what you're saying, Miri, because I was with 3 other women, and it was a music conference for artists, but we were 3 women that went, and they're stopping at all the stores with the little skirts and the flowers and the little, you know, the flowy dresses, and I'm just sitting there like when the husband goes and sits with the purses and I'm like, oh, that looks nice on you, but like, I'm not even looking. There's nothing in the store for me, like high heels and little gloves and stuff. And it was just, and they're all so excited. And I'm thinking, there's not anything in this town for me. So we're walking down the street, and then I find these goth stores, and that was my stuff, you know? So, but the point is that I know how that feels, because I was with 3 straight women who were like looking in the stores with the skirts, and I couldn't even connect with what they were looking at, except like, I'm never going to look good in that, you know, or that's not even something I want to wear, pink. And then I found the store with the black and the red and the skulls on the buttons and stuff, and that was like my thing. So I get that. And, you know, you got to dress how you feel comfortable.
Yeah,
I think we're, you know, at this stage where there's so much fluidity out there now, you know, like gender fluidity and sexual fluidity and everything else, that it's I don't want to say it's so widely accepted, but it's becoming so much more mainstream, I think, that people don't you know, give you a second look anymore. You know, if you're dressed like a tomboy, they don't think anything of it. If you're dressed like fucking Cinderella walking down the street, they don't think anything of it anymore. You know, like, it's just between social media, you know, and regular media. You know, I don't know who we were talking to, but I was saying how I feel like almost every show that I watch, there's like now a transgender character or a bisexual character or you know, an asexual character. It's just crazy. And I mean, not that it's crazy, but I mean, it's just I think because I'm so much older that it shocks me when I see it like on network television. I was like, wow, like it's right here on our TV screens. Like not that much shocks me over here because British TV is so much more liberal, and progressive.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
very much so.
Yeah.
But when I see something like on Grey's Anatomy or Lone Star, 911 Lone Star has a transgender character, and they're being played by queer or transgendered actors, and that's what I like. Like
Mhm.
it's getting a lot more progressive, I think, and that's taking the sting out of people seeing it on the street, where they live and where they shop and hang out and stuff. So yeah, I think, expressing your individuality through your clothing is great, and they're cute shirts. They're neutral, they have such a positivity to them without
Yeah.
in your face, I mean, like it's fantastic. I think that's great, and everybody had to supplement somehow during this. Were you doing
Right.
virtual gigs or anything like that? Was it
Yeah,
in the living room to people?
yeah, I did a few. At first it was nice, and then it just felt, it's good to be able to do that, but it's obviously just not the same
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
as, when we're kind of in real life.
I agree.
No
I
feedback from an audience, like you
yeah.
flat. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
exactly. It's really weird. I mean, I do some other work sort of still as a musician, but some work for various music and mental health organizations and youth music organizations. So I was very lucky that I was able to kind of still be able to do some of that work through the pandemic.
Oh,
So I
definitely.
wasn't purely relying on gigging. So yeah, I managed to sort of keep afloat, and there were also as well just amazing, like you've got the Arts Council and also Help Musicians UK, and I managed to get, when it first hit, like some emergency funding.
Miri, what I saw you posted something about your drinks. What do you got there?
Oh, okay. So I have got, so I tried to drink gluten-free beer, but this was all I could get, which is a Corona.
That's,
Ah,
that's very American. Very
but it's meant to be a lighter beer. And then I also got, which is almost gone, what did I get? It was a cognac. Yeah,
nice.
just like at the new newsagent. I just got two little
excellent
cognac.
choice.
We sent out to spend our emergency funds on booze. We're horrible. Very comfortable.
When you play festivals, do you play solo? Do you have a band? I noticed you play with different people in different videos.
Yeah, it's sort of a hustle, really. I mean, at the moment, I sort of, or before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of gigs just solo, me and keyboards, because I just realized when it comes to payment and paying the bills, I just needed to do that. But it's actually worked out. Exactly. It's worked out really well, and funnily, when I first started doing that, because I was like, oh, is this gonna work? And I did it at a gig in Brighton a few years ago, and it was because the guitarist who was meant to be playing for me, he had an accident with his hand and he couldn't play, and there was a keyboard at the gig, like one of the artists was playing keys, and I was like, all right, I'll do a few songs on keys, and in fact, an amazing band, duo called Nova Twins, or are they duo? Yeah, they were playing, and yeah, it just went down really well, and I was like, really? Because I was so used to playing with musicians, I thought but I think it's been great. Not I think, it has been great, because it's just sort of allowed me to really like put my voice out there, sort of thing, and know now when I do work with musicians how I'd like them to accompany me. And sometimes people love to sort of smother a little bit, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like lots of complications, but what I've learned through just doing gigs with keyboards, it's like stripping things back on the keys and then telling the story and allowing my voice to be the main instrument.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I have a load of musicians that I can call upon for doing full band gigs, and I would love to do that. But it just depends on the event. Like if Glastonbury called and they were like, we'd love for you to perform, regardless, you know, even if it wasn't paid a lot or not paid at all, which is what I've heard from some people, I would do it and just call upon some friends and be like, look, would you be up for this? But otherwise it's just not, you know, like I did a gig the other day which was great at the Amersham Arms, and if I would have sort of had loads of musicians, I would have gone home with nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yeah.
it's just having to sort of just kind of be selective. And I do actually enjoy both, but I do really enjoy just rocking up with my keyboard. It's just me, and then I can do my thing. I can
You're in
and then I
control
can
of
just
that.
go and
Yeah.
but I guess the ideal would be like if I was doing like a sold out show, would be to have a band and then also do some songs solo, so kind of mix it up a bit. But at the moment it's just having to be realistic and
I
if
get that.
people want bands and
venues are trying to bounce back a little bit too, so they don't have
Right.
the same budget that they used to have. And I mean, it's like they're expecting you to understand that you're expecting to survive, you know.
Right.
That's just being practical, you know. And again, it does give you a lot more freedom, and you know, to be as creative as you want and control it over your own. So yeah, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So
yeah, for sure.
yeah. But yeah, I think I remember when we worked together at Elfest, I don't remember there being a big band.
I might, you know what, when I did Elfest, I think that was a time where I was working with like backing musicians quite a bit. So I think it was probably just guitar, bass, and not a full drum kit, but sort of a stripped down kind of kit. And I do really, you know, I even just saying it, actually I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And because now as well I just know some really amazing people who I know I could call upon, I would just love that to sort of mix it up.
I get what you're saying about the solo gigs. You know, it's good when you're lucky when you're a musician and a writer and you can go out and play solo, so you can take those gigs, and especially when they're out of town. I'm in the same situation where I play solo most of the time when I travel, because it's just it's not financially sound to take a whole band with you. And even the local gigs, you know, as you say, depends on the gig. But it's great when a person, especially writers, can you know, tell their stories with just their voice and their instrument. I know a lot of people that write, but they don't sing, but they play the instrument, or they sing, but they don't play an instrument. And then you're kind of at a loss because you need someone else to, unless they're singing with tracks, which is another way to do it. But yeah, I think that being versatile, having that option, leaves you open to more, you know, definitely leaves you open to more opportunities.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And saying yes to things in the universe where, you know, like, do you find that like you get opportunities that you don't even look for, but they just happen to just fall in your lap, like they come your way because you're out there and you're open to trying acting and trying directing and music direction?
Definitely. Definitely. I think, I feel like as in the past few years, like I feel like I've got a bit tired or felt a bit tainted, but I really want to hold on to that magic and remind myself of that magic, because, you know, I think sometimes as well, like when you do feel a bit worn out, it's sometimes I don't know, I might not always see that actually that's you know, that opportunity came through, and that's big, that's major. You know, sometimes I know I can definitely be hard on myself at times, and I'm just really trying to be disciplined with myself to be like, but look what look what's kind of occurred.
Right.
And I really believe that one thing I do feel is that you just keep showing up. I'm going to keep
Right.
showing up to life. I'm going to keep showing up, keep following that spark and that joy for what I do. And that definitely is something that, just kind of leads me to some, magic opportunities, magic people.
Right.
And just, I don't know. I was reflecting on this the other day, that I just thought, even though maybe I haven't achieved all the things I'd like to achieve, I feel like, I don't mean this in a morbid way, but when my time comes, I actually would look back at my life and be like, no, I'm proud. Like you've done good. You've done well.
You
And
take a minute to recognize those things, because like you said, it's a hustle. And sometimes that's where the burnout comes in.
Right.
Jay talk about this, like when you're doing everything yourself, like scheduling, managing, booking, promoting, all that, the burnout comes from that. But actually, the joy comes from what you're doing. And it's such a fine line to walk, to remember to enjoy what you're doing and try not to get burnt out by, the production management business side of it. That's I think what wears you down. Like it's a tough gig that we've chosen, this road that we've all chosen. But that I think it's also a cool circle that you find yourself in with other musicians and artists and creative people, that we all feed off of each other. It's a great community. It's when we start letting the business people in, that's what ruins it. So when it's just creators, you feed off of one another's energy. So we always forget to lean on the support that we find in our little bubble, our little circle of creativity, I guess. So you were saying that the people that you come in contact with, that's part of it, the magic, that happens. So don't lose sight of that. That's really important. It's it's crazy times, but like we're coming out of it. And I hate to say this because it makes me sound like an old person, but there's a part of me that thinks that this is, this whole bad thing that's happened, over the last year and a half, it makes you realign and like all of a sudden feel the good when something good happens. Now we have this ability to feel it because everything's been so shit for the last year, and we're used to that shit feeling, that now the littlest thing can happen that's good, and we're like, yay, like it sparks it all again. So this is there's going to be a lot more yays coming, I think.
I like the way you put it. You have to just keep showing up. That's a really good way to put it. Just keep doing that, because you never know where. I always say, always answer your phone, because like so many people I know don't answer their phone if they don't recognize the number. I get more excited about that, because I'm like, it's the big call. It's that person that's calling me to play somewhere. I more answer it. Like you have to answer. They don't always call twice. So right. I mean, but that's a great way of saying it, Miri. You have to keep showing up.
I like you have to answer the call. I like that. Listen, you guys, on that note, this has been fabulous. Miri, thank you so much for showing up. Saying yes.
I like what you did there.
Just gonna let everybody know they can find you at miriofficial.com.
That's right.
Okay, cool. It's been lovely seeing you, my friend.
And you.
Very nice meeting you.
And you as well. Thank you so much. This has been really lovely and lifted my spirits. So
thank you guys so much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.
He drank way too much whiskey.
It's like never stop chasing your dreams.